episode of the What's Up Wenatchee podcast. It is a wonderful and beautiful Friday. My name is Nikki Darling, and we are actually hanging out in my backyard today, which is awesome. I just realized that the camera that I'm using is blurring out my background, which would make my husband very, very upset with me because he purposely put me in this position so that our pool could be in the background. So I at some point need to change the settings of this camera so that you're able to see the background of my house. Because we actually stayed home, and I could tell this story in full because it was a wonderful time. I don't have that camera up right now. Hold on. Hang on. Grayson is here, and he's putting up our extra guest camera so you can see the pool, but I don't have it set up yet. Oh, Dell! What's up, Dell? He said, hi, you kid. Just dropped in to say hey. Have a great weekend. Back to work I go. Man, Dell, do you remember Dell, Grayson? From he was the volunteer from East. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's actually a really nice view. So Dell is like volunteer extraordinaire from East Wenatchee, and he helped out with Classy Chassis. There we go. It's up on the screen right now. I'm going to take myself off the but there you go. That is our backyard. There is our pool. Now my husband will be very happy because I do work really hard, and we spent the entire Memorial Day weekend home. Yes, enjoying the pool, but it was a reading extravaganza.
Oh, I believe it.
It was. I did a lot of reading the entire weekend, so partial appreciation for me as well for the beauty of our backyard. There it is. So we decided, since we did so much hard work over this past weekend with beautifying our yard and our pool, that we would do the show back here today. There you are, Grayson.
That looks really awesome, I'm just gonna say.
There you go. Oh, I see we have your face there too. It is a beautiful view of you.
Oh, thank you.
Upward view of your face. How are you doing? How was your Memorial Day weekend?
Oh my goodness, it wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be, but I still, I lost myself there.
Oh yeah, we did. Lost you.
I don't know what I did. I'm touching things.
We can still hear you, we just can't see you.
No,
That's
it was
the beauty of
podcasting. It wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be, but it was still.
What do you mean it wasn't as fun as you wanted it to be?
Well,
it sounded to me like you had some fun. You went to the water slide park. No? You went and sat out in the sun?
I did sit out in the sun. I did do a lot of I got tan, so I did sit out in the sun.
We just went to the water slide park not that long ago, and I didn't go down any water slides.
What? You have to go down water slides when you go to the water park.
No, you do not.
What?
I did just enough. I went down one, and then I took my kid in like all the little splashy pool things, and there was no extreme activity had on my part, and it was wonderful.
You didn't even do the lazy river?
We did do that is
okay,
not an extreme activity. That is
extreme. That is
there's lazy in the title.
It still takes work. It involves work. I'm gonna wear my pair up shades.
I want shades.
They're not mine. I just like them. I stole them from you.
I'll wear my wellness place shades that are very dirty because of my son.
Well, that happens when you have a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Because they want everything that you have.
All right, so we do actually have a show to do today.
Let's get to it.
Yeah, so let's tell everybody what we're going to be doing today. Even though we are maxing and relaxing in the backyard, we have, well, first off, we have to say Happy Pride Month to everybody.
Yes, Happy Pride.
Yesterday started and kicked off an entire month of Pride. Yeah,
I'm shaking my head. I'm excited. This month is like the most important month to me, but for personal reasons. So
well, for both of us.
It's exciting. I mean, Trenton's birthday.
Yeah, June is okay. Let's list off the reasons why June is a huge month for both of us. Okay.
All right.
So one is Pride Month.
Right.
And that's big. That's huge for both of us.
Right.
So we understand that it's not everybody's ball of wax. What?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, ball of wax. Let's go with that.
Okay, let's go with that. But everybody has their thing that they're passionate about, and it just so happens that both of us are very passionate in this regard about the LGBTQIA community plus community, and have been advocating for decades, both of us for decades, before we even knew each other.
Right.
So Pride Month is a big deal. So we're going to be talking about that every week this month. It is my son's birthday month, June 13th. He will be turning 2.
I know.
2!
They grow so fast.
I cannot even believe it. My stepson graduates high school.
Which is surprising, right? Surprising. I'm
It's
as long as
slightly
you've known him,
surprising.
it's amazing that he's like there. It's just the time goes by fast.
Yeah.
I think that's the point of what I'm saying.
Well, if you talk to Ryan, he will definitely agree with you. The time goes by fast. I mean, he has an 18-year-old son who's graduating high school. Crazy. So that's another reason. Do you have another reason in June?
Wow, you can't think of the other reason?
It's your birthday.
Okay.
It is Grayson's birthday in June.
Yeah, we have a show on my birthday, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting, to say the least.
Why?
Just, I don't know.
I'm not even going to acknowledge it.
Okay.
It's my plan.
Yeah, I don't really care. I mean, I'm happy where I'm at in my
Is it
life.
a big birthday for you?
It's 45, so
It's kind of a big mid.
I'm in my 40s. I guess I'm celebrating that.
Yeah.
That true reality that people still have a hard
Everybody
time
tells
believing.
me that the 40s are the best, and I thought like my 30s was pretty awesome, and they were. But I'm really looking forward to my 40s. I turned 40 in September.
Oh, are you excited?
I am.
You should be excited.
I am.
Because there's really nothing to be afraid of. It's just it's another chapter in your life where you look back and you see where you've been, and you look forward and you see where you're going, and you're setting up your future while you're in your present. A thing that you didn't have a concept of doing while you were in your 30s.
Right.
It's just kind of a reality check that kind of happens. You turn 40 and you're like, retirement, I actually have to think about that.
I'm ready to, watch my son grow in my 40s, and I'm ready to grow myself. I'm ready to grow, and I'm also ready to just start a whole new set of goals. It's a benchmark in your life,
Right.
and set like, hey, I want to do this in my 40s, and have a list of things that I want to accomplish in my 40s.
Right.
And then go out and do it.
Right. Well, you're already well on your way. I mean, you have a beautiful garden that no one can see right now that you guys have got
I wish we
set
could
up.
take them on a tour.
We can take them on a
We
tour.
can?
Grayson's going to get off the camera just to be able to do this.
Really?
I know we're working on camera stuff, but check this out, you guys. Yeah, we got the garden back there. We got this awesome chicken coop off to the side over here.
Now, my husband is
This
greeting our
pool. Yes. Look at all this. We got the dogs back here. We've got our first guest actually. Yeah, I mean,
it's all working. Yes. Okay. So we are going a little off the rails on our show today. So let me tell you what we do have coming up. Um, Donny, I think you are an hour early. We are set up. I see him in kind of our waiting room area, but we had you set up for 1 o'clock. So you can totally sit, stay, hang out, listen, watch, whatever you want to do. This is me talking to our guest in the back area. But you don't feel like you need to stay on for the next 45 minutes because we're probably not going to get to you until about 1 o'clock. All right, I love you. I cannot wait to talk to you. We are going to talk with Donny Guerrero from Molina Healthcare about the upcoming Molina Markets here in Wenatchee. There's a few of those that are happening in and around the region, and we do have one that is happening in Wenatchee next Friday. And so we're going to tell you exactly what that is, what to expect, how you can get involved, and it's a community food pantry, and that's definitely a need that is in our community right now, and it's coming at you through Molina Healthcare. So definitely information that we want to get out there, and we're going to get all the details from Donny. And guess what? We're going to be out there as well next Friday. It's going to be a special broadcast of our podcast from the Molina Markets. So we'll give you all the details on that as well. Also on today's program, of course, we're going to talk about Wenatchee Pride, which their festival is happening tomorrow, all day long, all day and all night, at the Memorial Park. And that's where it's happening for the second year in a row. So they have an entire day of festivities and speakers. Thank you, honey. Just gave me a bottle of water. What a nice guy. Speakers and drag performers, and our good friend Matthew Pippin is going to be emceeing that event tomorrow, so we're happy for him. And then we'll give you all the details on the official Pride after party that we are going to be hosting, that karaoke after party, and when and where and all of that. So that's going to be a fun thing that just kind of came up in the past couple of days as well. And lastly, we do have a couple other things that we're going to be getting to. But Lorien Clemens is a pet genius. Yes, that's what I said. Yeah. And we have the absolute honor of sitting down in my backyard and talking with her, and because not only is she local, which we do like to talk to local business owners, but well respected within her industry, in the pet industry. So the company is called PetHub, and it has to do with pets, but it also has to do a bit with tech, which is right, it's my jam, right? It's pets and tech. So, I have to say, my lovely Choo Choo, who has been with me before all of this, when it was just me and my dog in a 1-bedroom apartment on a 3rd floor walk up, the first thing I did was sign him up with PetHub.
Wow.
Yeah, not even kidding, because I was so scared that I was going to lose this dog and was not going to be able to track him down. And so we'll explain exactly what PetHub is and how it works, but why I say Lorien is so well respected in her industry is because she's, been honored and recognized as such. She was one of the pet industry's women of influence, and also named the Pet Industry Network's 2014 Pet Industry Woman of the Year, and was the keynote speaker at that conference. So, I'm probably, amongst other things, there's a long list that would take up my entire podcast
Well, it'd be embarrassing to hear it all.
She's like, you could talk about me.
No.
But I not only wanted like get people aware of what PetHub is and the technology behind it, but also how you're expanding this technology even more. You're not like, oh no, we're just gonna be the like coolest pet technology company out there. No, we're going to like revolutionize pet care. Yeah,
that's
why not?
That's what we're hoping to do.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Well, thank you first for having me on the show. And having I like to say that we have a flavor of dogs actually in our midst, which is always the best when I'm talking on these things. I mean, so we were talking about this just this morning because my anniversary of officially being with PetHub was yesterday, and 12 years where I was actually getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's been 13 something years, and because it started in my then boyfriend, who was at Microsoft, said, hey, I got this idea and I'm thinking about quitting Microsoft. What do you think about that? And I was like, oh, well, tell me all about it. And he's like, well, I really want to do something where, a pet owner can come in and like everything's all in one place and they're not having to like freak out because like if their pet's lost or whatever. Thank you, Chewy. I appreciate you. Like you love us, right? I can tell. And I want to have it all in one place so everything's easy and you can quickly access all their data and be able to connect to all these different things. And I said, oh, so it's like a hub for your pet. And he's like, oh my God, that's the name. I'm thinking about it. Naming it. And this is back in fall of 2009. So yeah, I mean, we're hoping to revolutionize the way people think of not necessarily pet care, but the way that they connect all their pet care and the way that they think about technology as a tool that they can use. Mm-hmm. And really, truly the way how they can utilize their data and their pets' data to help them have a better life for their pets. And it is their data. And so we're trying to help folks, use their own data to be able to do all this stuff. And it's super exciting.
Now, can you please do this for every other aspect of my life? Because
you'd be surprised. We've had people say, "Oh, you should do this for senior care. Oh, you should do this for whatever." And I think that for us, a lot of this stuff does exist in the human space, right? And that's one of the things that I think inspired Tom when he was first looking at it. Like, gosh, like even then, 13 years ago, his medical stuff was all starting to be centralized in one place, and the fitness industry is all starting to be able to centralize everything, into your cell phone and now into your watch and all these other things, but nothing was happening in the pet space, and that's where he thought, I need this for my pet. Yeah. Like all this great technology is happening for humans, and when we got into the pet industry, the very first trade show we went to in 2012. It was like walking into the 80s. Oh, no. And the technology that was there was, all built on old, DOS access, kind of, really old school stuff. And so it's boomed since we've been in the industry. But when we first got there, the pet industry was lagging.
Now, did you have a technology background?
Not at all.
Oh my goodness.
I just happened to be in the right place, right time. Had fallen in love with this dude that worked at Microsoft. Kind of that's what got me into the tech space. But my background, I actually have a master's in acting, if you can believe it. And also had a background in science. I started off in astrophysics and dabbled a little bit in microbiology. And I did professional acting for about 8 years. And then I moved into education. I become a certified Montessori instructor. I taught everything from little bitties to junior high, and was doing curriculum development and teaching junior high math and science when Tom and I met. So, but I also, amongst my other many things that I've done, I've dabbled in design, and I had done some PR work in the theater space, and so it was kind of one of those things of like, hey, would you mind helping me with, a poster or two, or can you help me with my social media, or would you mind helping me with this? And that's kind of how I started with PetHub. It was like, hey, I need help with this little project here. Will you help me with this? And so I was doing a lot of little things. And then finally he was like, I'd like to invite you to come on, and I'm only going to pay you minimum wage. You're gonna make a heck of a lot less than you were making as a teacher, but what the heck, why not? Let's go see some animals. So that's kind of how it started. But no, my background's not in
There
tech.
was never like this big dream to be the
No,
leading lady in the pet industry.
no, not at all. And it's also too, like I say, I know just enough technology to break things. I know just enough about software development to break it. So yeah.
Well, I hope you at least like pets.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with
Yeah,
pets.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of when he was telling me all these things. I mean, it was one of those things of like, okay, yeah, sign me up for this. It really kind of was a dream scenario for me to be able to go and change a paradigm of the way things were being done for pets. And they've always been such a huge part of my life. I mean, I've been a dog mom and a cat mom, and at the time that Tom and I met, I had about 11 animals in my room. Like every class of vertebrate was in my room. I had a bird, fish, several different amphibians and reptiles, and guinea pigs and rats, and you name it. I mean, I'm an animal lady. So,
I love that. Yeah. We definitely, like, the animal family has grown.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look around, I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, what
happened to my 1-bedroom apartment with me and my dog?
Yeah, we only have 1 dog and 1 cat right now, which is really odd for us because we've been known for having a ton of animals around us, and for whatever reason, I think it's probably because we also have a child now who's a toddler that may have something to do with it. We're like, okay, let's chill with getting new fur kids in the house. But yeah.
Oh, we have somebody that just said, my dog is trying to find the barking dog in the video behind the speakers. That's so funny. Hi, Saya. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Oh my goodness. So when did this new idea, because you had PetHub that started, you said, like, back in 2009.
Yeah. So I think we actually incorporated in 2010. Tom invented the pet QR tag back in 2009. Was the first file patent on
people weren't even using QR
No, in
tags.
fact, people laughed us out. Investors, when we were talking to them, they're like, what is our little black squiggly thing? And we actually had people questioning whether or not people were really going to use those smartphone things. Even
now, I have QR codes for almost everything that I do, and people are still like, I can't do that.
It's crazy.
My phone doesn't do that.
I will say that, well, if their phone doesn't do that, then their phone is older than the hills.
Some of them are still out there.
It's crazy. But I will say that the pandemic certainly helped move what we're doing forward, because now most people, certainly people under a certain age set, instantly look at it and they go like, oh, I know exactly how that works. And that's really helped us. And we are growing by leaps and bounds. But, so we started off, when we first started doing this thing, we started with, okay, we've got to show how we can do several applications for this idea of having a centralized pet profile for your pet. And then what are the different applications for that? So the very first application was the ID tag connected to these lost pet recovery tools. And we have a suite of lost pet recovery software tools that we have. And that was that.
Like
formed,
what would be in a lost pet recovery tool? Yeah,
so there's a lot. So like first it's the online profile, which was a very new concept when we very first started. And it's the idea that you don't have that old-fashioned stamp metal ID tag or etched metal ID tag that has one phone number. Like, who has just one phone number that is connected to their pet? And a lot of times it would be your home phone. And I don't know that many people actually have a telephone connected in their houses anymore, but so many of us have like a partner, a husband, a wife, a significant other, roommates, kids, all these people that are connected to the animal. And I don't know about you, but I don't pick up my phone 24/7, especially like right now. I'm not going to be picking up my phone if it rings, And so the idea that a single phone number on an ID tag is so old-fashioned. So that was the first thing, get multiple emergency contacts out there, but also connect you to those other safe spots that your pet would be fine at. So like they can take them to your vet, they can take them to Firehouse Pet Shop or a local pet store that knows you and knows your pet and can get in contact with you, other safe spots. You have a new pet sitter, you can put the new pet sitter's name on there, what have you. You can change it when you travel. You can put now who's going to be the first person that's called and those kind of things. So that was the core of it.
That's really smart, because I like there was one time Chewy got out. It was 4th of July one year. It was before we were living together, when I was still in the apartment, and I took him over to his old house, and the fireworks went off and Chewy went running.
Yeah.
And I lost him. This was before, you know, I really had like anything for him. And I was like terrified.
Yeah.
It was so scary. And to think that there could be like more than one place that people could bring him to, because I was terrified that like somebody was going to bring him down to, you know, somewhere, and then he wasn't going to have his tags on or something.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
oh, that was it. He didn't have his tags on because
Yeah.
he took his collar off or something. And so that's why it was so scary, because I was like, somebody's going to find him and then bring him.
And then what are they going to do? Yeah. And we, you know, it's the safety circle is a big part of the tools that we have. We also have a 24/7 call center where there's human beings that pick up a phone. So there's a phone number printed on the back of every tag. It's a toll-free number, operates anywhere in North America, where anyone can, if they, let's say that they look at that and they don't understand how QR codes work, but there's a phone number on there that anybody can call, and it's a 24/7 human operated. You're not talking to a robot. You're talking to humans who actually are trained to help that pet get home, and they're going to go through and they're going to help connect you to somebody who can help the pet get home. We also have a community alert system. So it's one of our premium services. So you pay us a couple bucks a month, and then that allows you to send out like an Amber Alert, 50-mile radius to all the, you know, awesome. Everybody that's on part of that community alert. So it's the shelters, it's the veterinarians, it's the pet stores, it's things like that. They're in a 50-mile radius saying, hey, my pet's missing. We have a GPS system. So the tag itself has no battery in it. So it's passive GPS. But whenever somebody scans that tag, we grab their GPS information, assuming that they've said, yes, you can share my information with the people who own this pet.
Wow,
we grab that GPS information so you know exactly where your pet was found. And then you can use it to help facilitate getting them home quickly and that type of thing. And you also get an instant notification whenever that pet is found. So whenever somebody accesses their profile, you're getting that instant notification of Chewy's been found.
Yeah.
And so that's just some of the tools that we're offering out there for that lost pet recovery system. And we've been blown away by how well that's worked. I mean, over the past, you know, almost dozen years, 96% of the pets that we're getting home are home in 24 hours or less.
Wow.
You consider that the national average when they're in the shelter is over 10 days. It's tremendous if we're able to get them home in less than a day.
Wow.
So now let's talk about, because you mentioned like what we're doing now. So we've always wanted to add on these extra applications. So the next application that we added on was this idea that, again, you can use your data to do powerful things for yourself. So now you can come onto our site. A lot of people don't even know where to start with something like pet insurance. So we have a pet insurance widget that we've built in the site. It uses the technology to work with another company who has already vetted and researched all these pet insurances, and they have all the information about each of these pet insurance companies that are out there. You can, with your PetHub account, say, yeah, tell me what my pet insurance options are. And they ask you, okay, a couple questions about what are you looking for pet insurance, and then you answer these couple little questions, like 2 or 3 questions, and in about 45 seconds, boom, you have all these quotes of what you can get. And they say that this would be the type of coverage you could get for this amount of money, and this would be the type of coverage. And then you can instantly purchase that pet insurance, and you don't have to go through the 10 minutes that it takes to fill out the forms or do the research for yourself. We're using the technology and what we already know about you and your pet, and then you give us permission to help you search for insurance, and then boom, in 2 minutes or less, you can have pet insurance for your pet. We did that about 6-8 months ago. We started that. And then the most recent thing, which we just launched this past month, about a month and a half ago now, is our wellness tools. And again, it's one of those things that you can come to your PetHub profile where you've already taken the time to put in all these things about, you know, Chewy or Lilu or one of your other, but
wow,
Burke is over here.
That's very good, and, remembering their names.
Well, I don't remember the third one. I'm sorry. I do know it's a Star Wars name, but I'm blanking. Leia. Oh my God, I can't believe I messed that one up. I'm so sorry, General. But let's say that you're worried that Leia is getting picky with her food, and you're like, gosh, I wonder if I should be changing her food. She's slowing down with her eating. What's going on? I don't know if I really want to take her to the vet. That's a lot of money. Through our wellness tools, you can use our food finder, where we already know a lot about Leia. You can add and answer a couple more questions about what you're looking for. We'll give you some advice about things you might want to look into for food changes. And then we'll say, would you like to chat with a vet about this? And you say, well, heck yes, I'd like to chat with a vet, because it's included in the wellness tools. And then you can have an online chat, you can have a video chat, you can have a text chat, you can even have them call you on the phone, and you can talk with a licensed vet that's part of the team that we're working with, that'll talk you through like all the different options you might need to consider for Leia and her nutrition. And then more importantly, they'll help you determine does she need to be seen? Like, do we need to get this medically evaluated, or here's some things that you can try at home that might help you. And then you can better assess, like, okay, yeah, no, she's fine. She's just getting picky. She's bored, whatever. But it can range. You can use our wellness tools for your entire family of pets for one price. And you can do an annual. We're getting ready to, hopefully in about a month, we'll introduce our monthly fees as well. But if you're a PetHub premium member, you get it for $99, and all 3 pets, unlimited 24/7 licensed veterinarians at your disposal.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
just because I'm thinking, and I know that Ryan thinks at the same time that he always is very hesitant to take him to the vet.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the same like with himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to take himself to the doctor.
Am I going to waste this visit on something that I seriously could have been
not
like...
going to be able to do anything, or it's going to be the other way where they're going to be like, oh, we need to do this really expensive surgery that we're not going to be able to afford.
But you're going to have to pay $65 just for the pleasure of asking that question.
Right.
Yeah. And so imagine if like for an entire year with these 3 guys you have and whatever other animals you might have stocked in there. It is for just dogs and cats. Our wellness tools right now is just for dogs and cats. No exotics, unfortunately.
But we have 5 of those, total.
You're right. Okay, great. So in 2 visits, you would have already spent way more than the $99, right? But you can get on the phone or a video chat or just a messaging chat or texting and ask the questions that you wanted to ask, like, hey, she's licking her paws a lot. What's going on? Like, drive me worried. And they'll ask you all the questions. They'll have a chance to look at there. You can send videos, pictures, that type of thing. They can look at your dog. Now, they can't diagnose because there are laws across the country, and they're different in every state, that say, in order to diagnose, to prescribe, that you have to establish that relationship and physically touch the pet. So this type of telehealth is along the lines of tele-advice, but it's real live vets. And so it's not an AI bot that's like, spitting out things. It's not a vet technician who are amazing, but this is literally like a full DVM that's been doing this for years. Most of our vets that are on staff have been doing this for at least 10 years or more. So, and they'll walk you through things. I actually have used it a couple of times myself, and the recommendations that they gave me, thankfully, everything that I talked to them about was all stuff that really I could take care of at home. And they were really things I could just adjust with little supplement things that I'm doing with the nutrition. And both of the supplement ideas that they gave me, and they're not saying buy this product, so they're not trying to make money on that product. They're just saying, look for this type of product. You're going to look for these type of ingredients, that type of thing. You can get it from Chewy, you can get it from your local firehouse, what have you. Both have helped my 2 fur kids at home tremendously. And it was like, wow, that was so easy. And I would have spent $120, $130 just to take them in and ask the same question.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's the same with pet insurance. It's like you might not ever use it, right? But for me, because I have pet insurance for Chewy. Yeah. He was my baby before my baby was my baby. There's a 2-year-old also sleeping in that corner room over there, and it was just like I bought pet insurance right away too, because peace of mind. Yeah. Well, and pet insurance, much like a lot of insurances, you don't realize how much you needed it until you've already needed it. Yeah. And when you need it, it's already too late. Yeah. And especially with pet insurance. So as much as this sucks, pet insurance comes under property and casualty. It's not actually. They don't look at pets as beings. They look at pets the same way that they would, a car, or anything else. It's property. Yeah, it's property, and also like, are you liable for something if you're, type of thing. And so,
But there's also a lot of laws around it, and we are actually getting ready to do an entire series and a podcast of our own about pet insurance, so people really can unpack all the different parts of it. But if there's a pre-existing condition, you're not going to get it covered anywhere. And one of the tricks is finding a pet insurance that really suits what you are looking for and what you need for your lifestyle. But then you have to stick with it, because if your pet gets treated for anything or has any ailment coming along, if you're already covered underneath that pet insurance, you're golden. It's covered underneath that. But as soon as you try to switch to another pet insurance, anything that was under that previous pet insurance is now no longer coverable. And so it's tricky. So I got we just got a puppy during COVID, because hey, that's what everybody was doing, right?
Or having kids.
Yeah. Same, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We have five. Yeah. So we have a 3-year-old and a puppy. We have a barely walking toddler and a puppy at the same time, right before Christmas. It was epic. Oh, and we had just moved into a new house. It was like the best thing ever.
Same.
It was like so like, yeah. All right. Okay. So you know what we were in.
Yeah.
But having just paid a ridiculous amount of money with my senior Boston Terrier, and I just got this new puppy Boston Terrier, I was like, I need to get good insurance for this pupper. Because I had insurance for the other Boston, but I got it really late in her life. And so it wasn't covering everything that I really needed it to cover. And it wasn't very good coverage. And I knew that now. I learned those lessons. And so I went in, and when I went in knowing exactly what I needed to know. A new pet parent wouldn't really know what to look for. And that's why we've integrated with the tool that we've integrated with, so that they can really help you understand what you're going to need and want. But I'm so glad, because within 4 months of having this new puppy, she started dislocating her knees, both of them. Come to find out, she's got some kind of disease that is making this happen with her knees. She's already had one surgery. She's going to have to get the other surgery. And because I got her coverage at the very beginning, it's all paid for.
Oh,
which
glorious.
I'm like, oh. Now, granted, a lot of people don't ever use that pet insurance till the pet's a senior. But I have to tell you, I was so relieved that we had pet insurance when this thing started happening.
So proud of yourself.
I was like, yay, because
sure.
it was thousands and thousands of dollars that the first surgery alone was $6,000, and we only had to pay out of pocket a couple hundred, which was fantastic.
Oh my, is she doing okay?
Oh, she's great. Oh my God, she's a psycho.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. She's
fits right into the family.
Yeah, she's a typical Boston Terrier. You know, thinks she's a vicious beast, but she's actually just a big love bug who has boundless energy.
Sounds like my son, basically.
I was gonna say it's perfect for my son as well. So.
We're gonna have to bring them over for like
have a play date. Absolutely.
Yes, lots of room and obviously the pool. So yes, you're welcome back anytime. Please do. This is amazing. And please consider putting your podcast on our network.
Oh yeah,
we'll help get it out there, and we'd love to have.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, it's called Pet Lover Geek. It's I've actually been doing it for quite a few years. I started it because I just needed to rail against bad marketing in the pet industry, but now it's turned into something quite different. So
awesome.
It's fun.
All right, well, let's talk about that. And honestly, I love this, and I love this for not only our area but just for the industry in general.
Yeah.
And because people are lazy. No, actually, it's not only good for just like anybody, but there's all kinds of people out there, Lorien, and I've gone through parts and times in my life where like social anxiety has been a real thing, and like grocery shopping has been like a no-go, and I had to deliver my groceries, or taking my dog to the vet would have been a really overwhelming prospect. And now for people who that's a thing, their pets like healthcare doesn't, or well-being doesn't need to suffer because of their
and it is a
anxiety.
Perfect solution for if you have a dog or a cat that's anxious about going to the vet too. I mean, it's a perfect solution there. If you yourself, if it doesn't fit into your current availability, I mean, that's the thing about telehealth. It's at your schedule. And they're going to let you know, like, oh, you really do need to get this
Yeah.
pet seen, and then at least you have the tools. And they'll provide you with, like, here are the things that you need to tell your vet. Here are the things that we talked to you. You'll actually be able to download your records that you've had through our wellness tools that you can then take to the vet. And so you say, these are the things that we discussed, but they give you such peace of mind there, and they'll save you a lot of money for not ever having to go to that. If you have a brand new pet, you're not sure about a behavior issue, they can talk through that with you. You can talk through training things. You can talk through potty issues. That's one of their biggest ones that they get all the time, are potty issues, nutrition, you name it, or getting old issues, or if they have had surgery or something like that, they can really talk you through doing home care on the post-operative side, like all types of things where you can use the PetHub wellness tools and use them to your heart's content for the full year, and never have to leave your home or get out of your pajamas. So it's like,
that sounds worth it to me,
right?
Anytime I don't have to get out of my pajamas, obviously anytime I don't have to leave my house
is a bonus, a big bonus. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
clearly that's a thing for me. Thank you so much.
Thank
you are
you.
a joy.
Thank you.
My
Well, and I
gosh.
want to just shout out so folks that are here in the Wenatchee Valley.
Yeah.
There's a couple ways that you can get with PetHub. Number one, if you're getting your pet license through the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, make sure you activate that tag on PetHub.com. Just getting the tag isn't enough. It's not automagical, as a friend of mine likes to say. It does need to be activated, and you have to register your pet. But then you can also just come to PetHub.com and you can buy tags directly from us. So
awesome.
And the basic service is free. So what do you got to lose?
And all the information on everything you do is right at PetHub.com.
Oh yeah, it's super easy to read. In fact, we've just done some amazing updates to our site, so there's even more there.
Great. And I'm so glad that is it now your husband? Is there a boyfriend now your husband?
Okay. Tom.
I was hoping.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Actually, we after 7 years, we're like, yeah, let's go ahead and get married. Let's do this.
I'm glad that you said that he originated and he's, from Microsoft, because, my husband always reminds me that Microsoft started in a garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I'm starting basically a business.
So did Amazon. Like all of these things, we're a startup company, but every single company ever, and granted, I know that as soon as you think, oh, a big corporation or whatever, they're the bad guys, but they did all start in a garage, or in our case, a dining room table, often surrounded by college kids, pizza, and a heck of a lot of coffee, so. Well,
yeah, ours is energy drinks.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah.
That's just standard.
Yeah,
so.
It is standard. So it's fun, and we're proud to be part of the Wenatchee Valley, and in over 1,000 communities across the United States. So that's exciting, huh?
It is very exciting. We're proud to have you as part of the Wenatchee Valley, and women business owners out there. You are an inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say that was really easy. I set up my dog, one of them, in this entire interview.
Oh, that's fantastic! Oh, good, cool.
I mean, minus this microchip ID, I don't carry that on
one of his dogs while we were doing this interview.
Good for you. Nice.
So there you go.
Excellent.
All right. We will have you back. I
Love
guarantee that, and we'll talk about. I want to talk about your program, your podcast. What is the name of it again?
It's called Pet Lover Geek.
Pet Lover.
I'm writing it down.
She's like my soulmate.
I know. I'm writing it down.
All right.
Pet
we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Oh gosh, I love making new friends.
Do you have a tag?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lorien Clemens from PetHub, co-founder and CEO. Please go check out their services, PetHub.com.
Oh, thank you.
They have their wellness
I have it right in my
services
email.
and pet tracking, and then check out the Pet Lover Geeks podcast.
All right, thank you so much.
You can snag them and put them
Have a great
on the network.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Coming up in just a few, we are going to get to our friend Donny Guerrero over at Molina Healthcare and talk about Molina Markets. And we are going to tell you all about Wenatchee Pride, which their festival is tomorrow down at Memorial Park. Man, this has been a beautiful day outside. I don't even feel too hot or too cold or anything. So if this weekend is at all anything like this, then we are pretty much in for a treat. I know that the Leavenworth Adventure Park opened yesterday, the 1st of June. So I saw some video. Actually kind of looks really neat, and it makes me want to go jump on the trampoline kind of thing. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. So right now I'm waiting for Grayson to come back. He's just walking our guest out, Lorien. I need to turn my mic up. I need to turn my mic. I'm not loud enough. Said you need to turn your mic up. I'll just talk louder. But I have some pictures and stuff from the that I wanted to share. So I'm gonna do that as Grayson makes his way back in. Where are my pictures? Oh gosh. So we are. I wanted to tell you that we have a street team. So as we go out and do our karaoke nights or do our events and do our parties, you might see some people as our street team. So I wanted to. Grayson is definitely one of my street team members. Are you there? Oh, all I can see is the top of your head. So.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, there we go. There, I could see you better. So Grayson is one of my street team members. He usually has the Darling podcast shirt on. Oh, by the way, we are designing a new Darling Productions t-shirt.
Which is important.
It is in design mode. Once we get a design, we will get it approved, and then it's going to go into production. We'll have new t-shirts and tank tops and sweatshirts and all caps and all of that stuff. So I cannot wait to have new merchandise, but we're waiting on the design.
Me too, because I'm sitting here, all I have is a t-shirt and it's summer weather, and I'm like, man, I'm on hold for a sweatshirt, and now I need to get myself a tank top.
We do still have some stickers for sale. They're, what did I say? $3 each.
And 2 for $5.
And 2 for $5. We will have them for sale at Pride, at our Pride tent tomorrow. I just realized something.
What?
Oh my gosh. We might have to bring the generator to Pride tomorrow.
That's okay.
I don't think we're going to have power. They don't give you power at the tents.
Oh.
And so if we wanted to run music, we're going to need to bring the generator.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think we are allowed to bring a generator though. If not, we're going to be causing a ruckus. But I think as long as we're all self-contained. So anyway, so our second street team member. Is that mic on? Because I can't really hear you.
Test, test, test.
No, it doesn't. Oh, it's me.
It's okay.
There you go.
I'm right here.
Our second street
doing my
team member
sorry.
Is our friend Camille.
Whoop,
there
whoop.
she is. Her pictures. I love that picture of Camille. This is right before she went to go do her car smash when we were at the Classy Chassis.
Oh yes.
So you might see Camille. She's also a karaoke host. She's done some karaoke hosting in the past. So if we get busy enough, we'll send Camille out to host some karaoke nights.
She's so much fun.
She is. And then we have a group shot of the street team.
We're just missing one person in our street team. You know that.
We're missing Tyler.
We're missing Tyler, but we're missing
Libby.
Yes. And Michael.
And Michael.
Yes.
And Michael.
We do have 3 other street team members.
Oh my gosh, we do. You're right.
I can never forget people.
I can't forget them either. Wow.
It's
that was a stab.
No, I don't mean it as a stab. I just mean it as we have another street team member, but I keep forgetting we don't have collective picture of everyone.
We don't have a collective picture of everyone.
We do have photographs from
Different
previous events that they've been a part of and helping. We just don't have everything we do not have everything cataloged and logged officially right now. There's over 2,000 photos.
We have a lot of photos.
320 videos, and they still need to be like,
well,
put somewhere and cataloged.
Well, listen, this is what we're working. We're working on a website redo.
Right.
It's going to take us through the summer to do this website redo, but it is going to be a whole new booking system online for events, for karaoke, for large scale events. It's going to be, we're going to have galleries of when we do these kinds of live events, you know, where we're out and we have like lots of pictures. We'll be able to put different galleries up so people can go and grab those pictures if they want to share them or whatever they want to do. So I'm looking forward to having a more streamlined website come, I'm gonna say, Labor Day.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I want our viewers to know, I mean, we are a constant work in progress. We are constantly updating stuff.
We're getting better all the time.
And this is why that's the tag's logo, you know, for who we really are. It's the tagline for a reason. Where you have to have improvement, right? And so we improve upon, and we get better all the time.
So we're trying to improve all the time, and that's the point, is that we are trying. Like, you don't just get better, you get better because you are working at it, and that's what we do every day. I get up and I go, I am going to try my best today and do what I can today. Like, that's all I can do. And some days I fall really short, and some days I get the energy to go a lot further. Tomorrow we got to find a lot of energy. Tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow's a long day. Yeah, we've got Wenatchee Pride, the 2023 Wenatchee Pride Festival, all day. Speakers, bands, drag performances, a whole day of entertainment. They've got Abe Martinez, Ball Bag, Michael Carlos, Not All There, Pizza Party, The Timely Tragedy, Grupo Que Loco, and Freya Rolfs. That's all the music acts. Do you know any of those?
I don't.
I do?
Yeah, I don't.
My gosh, you don't know Michael Carlos?
Nope.
And I have a Ball
live
Bag
under a rock.
hat. Somebody, when they played down at Wally's one night, bought me a Ball Bag hat, and it was awesome.
Oh no, I believe you. No, I just don't get out as much as I used to.
Yes, you do.
Not to Wally's, not to see shows.
Yeah,
like
true.
A lot of the things that I normally do, I'm just kind of like, I've got a set amount of things I'm capable of doing right now, and I kind of stick within those parameters. And
That's
I'm not
fair
saying
enough.
that's not in my wheelhouse. It's just I can only do so much, and so I'm missing out on a lot. There's a lot of local bands that
there's a lot of great
Datura
music.
I was just about to say that. Ryan sitting over here.
I'm sorry, my budget
totally missed out on Datura shows, and not just that. There's some stand up I'm missing out on right now. So there's a lot going on.
Wally's has the only live
they have stand up at Pride tomorrow, but they do have drag. They have 2 drag groups, Diva Drag and House of Pisces.
House of Pisces, I'm really looking forward to seeing those guys. I'm not gonna lie, I missed them at Epoch when they were doing the drag trivia night, which just happened to be Sunday, this last Sunday.
Right.
So I just know that that's something I'm looking forward to, because that's something I've been looking forward to, is just seeing them perform. But drag in general, I'm gonna be abandoning the Darling Productions tent when that goes on. I apologize in advance. Those are going to be my breaks. Not that everyone else isn't important. It's just kind of,
They do look intriguing. They're kind of a wacky.
I know, that's why I'm
Yeah.
so excited
Yeah,
for
me
it. You
too.
know, like when you get the opportunity to see something that isn't around constantly, and I'm from a big city, right? So when I'm immersed in it, it's around constantly. I live in Wenatchee. I'm under a rock because events are sporadically happening around me, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited. I know you're excited. It's Pride. I can say Happy Pride. It's important.
They got some speakers from Wenatchee Pride, from Confluence Health, Minerva Zayas from Planned Parenthood, and our friend Elvis Garcia from the Elvis Garcia Foundation, who, if you have been driving around Wenatchee, East Wenatchee, they put up they call them the diversity banners, the rainbow banners. Let's be real, they're called rainbow banners, but they call them diversity banners. And then Epic Dance is going to do a performance. You know, they have that kind of epic dance studio downtown. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, okay. I do. I'm just going to turn my camera here and turn my focus.
Okay. And then Folklorico dancers, and then Leo is doing some poetry. So they got all kinds of stuff going on the main stage all day, plus all the vendors, which we will be one of them. A youth area and activities open till 3, food trucks, beer garden, and we're gonna try and do an impromptu karaoke party in the park, you know, in our stall. That's what we're planning on doing,
and it's gonna be fun. I encourage everyone to come check it out. And
if we can get the generator going,
and if all else,
I fix it.
We're having an official karaoke party.
I fixed the generator. I rebuilt the carburetor. It runs great, babe. You can use it.
Got him talking over here, you talking over here, and all I'm trying to do is do this podcast where I'm trying to announce that afterwards, so the entertainment on the stage goes until 9 o'clock. They're going pretty late. I think they're doing that on purpose because they I don't know, they wanted to go late at the park, which they could. But starting at 9, we're doing a very unofficial, official karaoke Pride after party.
Oh yes.
Woo-hoo-hoo. I need that button.
Pew, pew, pew. Maybe we can get Ryan to actually come out and sing since it's at Columbia Valley.
Somebody has to watch the kid.
Oh, that's right.
You can't.
Dang it! Can't we just bring Trenton along and dress him up all Pride-like?
I got a fake ID for him.
Yeah, Trenton kind of looks like an old man, so it's fine. But yes, so Columbia Valley Brewing, staying open late because they normally close at 10. Staying open as long as people are coming out, singing, keeping the taps flowing, and having a good time. So that could be 11, that could be midnight, that could be 1, who knows. However late you guys want to go, I will keep the karaoke mics open. They will keep the taps flowing.
Yes, and we don't know what the drink specials are, but I guarantee you that there will be drink specials there that'll be their in-house drink specialists. They do shots. It's not just a brewery. I want to make sure that people know that. And it's a lot of fun. There is an outside area for smoking that also has heated lamps, and when we don't need those, it's a nice little setup.
It's dog friendly too.
It is very dog friendly. You can bring as long as your dog is a friendly dog.
Right.
Your dog is completely welcome inside and outside of this venue. Also, folks, there is food. There is food at the brewery, and it is delicious.
Really good.
Yeah, their burgers are delicious. Yeah, so I mean, come get your Pride on. I'm super excited that they wanted to have us and wanted to do this gig. So come one, come all. Make sure you have your ID, 21 plus. Sorry that had to be that way this year, but we really are excited to have this Pride.
It was 16 plus last year, and that is my only, my only like sad face for this, because we couldn't do something that included people, not all ages, but of teenage ages.
I feel like we should interview Ryan like he's in like.
I have to get to Donny. It's 1 o'clock.
Okay, go ahead.
We gotta
I'm
get
sorry.
Alright,
I just caught that just now. I
well, he
apologize.
was
Hey, you
in
guys
silhouette.
have-
I
Yeah.
thought it was an interesting.
I'm just sitting here listening. I'm not trying to mess up you guys' flow here.
Yeah.
So-
Sure, honey. Not
You're
trying
good.
to mess
I'm just
up
gonna
the flow.
go do some more weeding.
Okay. I told you it's a weeding extravaganza at our house. Yeah.
It looks good though.
No,
It
your
does look
property
good.
looks great, you guys.
All right. I'll
All
take
right.
care. Bye bye.
We'll talk to you later, honey.
I
Thank
love
you
you.
for
Wait.
all of your help. I
Give me a
love
kiss,
you
give me a
so
kiss.
much. Mm. You are something. Thank you. Whew. Don't laugh.
It's cute. I can laugh.
All right. So this week we are at my broadcasting live from my house in our backyard because we did so much work. It has been a weeding extravaganza over the Memorial Day weekend. We hung out in a backyard and there's a pool. We'll show you a little bit later what that looks like. We just had a good time. And so since we worked really hard on the backyard and making it look nice, we decided to hang out back here and have the show here today. But next week, a week from today, we're going to do a special broadcast with some live interviews on location from the Town Toyota Center, where Molina Healthcare is hosting something they call Molina Markets. Now, this is a traveling thing that they are doing in different parts of our region, and I'm not going to tell you about it. I'm going to let Donny Guerrero from Molina Healthcare tell you all about it. Donny, how are you doing today?
Woohoo! Very excited. I must say, even though I was super early, I am a big podcast individual. I do not have my fur baby yet, but I have already I have subscribed to the Pet Lover Geek app
Yes.
podcast. That was one of my goals throughout the pandemic, was to get a puppy, and then he would travel with me on all my work events. It hasn't happened yet. And literally, like, just through listening, as I was waiting, I was like, now I do need to worry about pet insurance when I do eventually get this little guy or gal. And so I am learning. So that was very exciting.
I know, we talked about it. We did. When we met and we had coffee the last time, you asked me if I still had Chew Dog, and I said, yeah, of course, because I just don't post as many pictures of him anymore because I post all my pictures of Trenton, of course, you know. So I got to get more pictures of Chewy out there. But you told me you were thinking about getting a little puppy, right? So you haven't gotten one yet.
No, not yet.
Have you gotten any closer? Have you been looking?
So I think just because this will be my first adult pet, what I think I'm going to do is wait for my birthday week.
When's your
I'm gonna go and
birthday?
find a little puppy for then, and then that would give me a whole week to just go ahead and adjust to this new little character in the home. And I could, in my head, like, this will give me some time to go ahead and also seek out like a training or trainer for that. So
Yeah, for sure. You definitely do that. Anytime you get a new pet, it's like when not that I don't know. I didn't know this. So it's like when you bring a newborn home, like, you're supposed to, the dad also, it's beneficial when the dad stays home too, to like help bond with it. But it's the same thing. Like, you spend a week like bonding with your new pet, so that they call it, they impress upon you. They put an impression on you, so they're like your pet forever.
exactly.
Well,
So
I hope that
I thought it
happens
was
for
perfect
you.
timing today.
Yeah.
Popping in and listening to your previous guest, and I was like, this is perfect for me too.
Oh, well, good. I saw that you just stayed and hung out, so I'm really like happy that you did. But that, and I was like, I hope he's not bored. But why would you be bored? It's it's my podcast. So I was glad that you hung out. But
Yes.
I do want to talk to you about Molina Markets, because I'm actually really excited that you're going to have us out there for this. And we're like, this time next week, we'll just be wrapping this whole thing up. It goes from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Over at the Town Toyota Center. And so tell us, what can we expect from this?
Ooh, yes. So I wish I could say that Molina does all the work and we do all so amazing many things in the community, but no, it takes so much volunteer work. It takes other community partners that do this work year after year, day after day. Like, this is all they do. And so what we are doing, obviously because of continuing rising prices on everything, what Molina decided to go ahead and do this year is to go ahead and help contribute to food insecurities. So obviously this one day event is not going to solve it. It's not going to solve very much. But for anybody who is currently experiencing food insecurities, we are hoping that this event will be able to go and provide at least one more day or two of food items. The one great thing about this here is that I need to go ahead and give a shout out to a few partners that will be either providing volunteers for this event or will be helping us with food distribution. So that includes our partners at Cafe. So that's Community Advancement for Family Education. They do this also. They also have their mini resource fairs once a month. So we go ahead and show up and do a smaller version of that whenever we can. The Chelan Douglas Health District, they are bringing in volunteers to help out. They are also be tabling there to share out their resources, because when it comes to anything healthcare, that's also a component of this. Community action. So Brittany and Alan and his team at local Chelan Douglas Community Action Council, they will be on site with their mobile units. So you did go ahead and mention so that the event starts from 11 and goes until 1. We're hoping that that'll be as long as supplies last from the second harvest mobile markets.
Right.
And then that's where Molina and Community Action will jump in to provide additional resources after that. So we're hoping that portion will carry us until about 3 p.m. or until supplies last. They certainly do this at least 5 days out of the week. So we rely on them to go and help keep our neighbors' tummies full. And then also the Alano Club, they're going to be there providing volunteers for this event. The Chelan Douglas County Volunteer Attorney Services Group, they will also be there providing volunteers and also be handing out resource information. So for anybody who has any civic legal aid issues, they will be handing out any information. Obviously, once again, for the communities that we go ahead and serve, a lot of them will not have funding resources whenever they have any civic legal aid things come up. And so this is a great time to go ahead and bring in those additional partners who specialize in this work. Last but not least, Thriving Together. So they are a behind the scenes partner that help tie in a lot of mental health, behavioral health throughout all of North Central Washington. Their team will be on site helping provide volunteers. I guess at the end of the day, just thank you so much to our volunteers that will make this event possible. Well, as you know, today, you're outside, so it's going to be warm today. I expect it'll be warm next week. So we want to have more volunteers than necessary. That way nobody has to be running around in this heat trying to keep up, but we can also provide a great service for our community.
This is why I love talking with you, Donny, because you understand what community really means, and what that word actually consists of. We're not meant to be doing any of this good work in that's going out there alone, right? and some people think they need to carry this torch and do everything by themselves, and then they go, wow, this is, and then they burn themselves out. And you honestly are one of the best that I've seen out there, really depending and integrating and executing community partnerships. So I really look at you as an inspiration in that department. So thank you. You know, to getting all of these groups together is like sometimes herding cats, honestly. But it's for the greater good. Because people don't always want to think that while they're sitting down at their dinner table or their lunch table, because now it's like lunchtime, right? They might be watching this while they're eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a turkey and cheese, and not think about the fact that there's some kid across town, right in their own community, that has no idea what he's having for lunch today, and doesn't even bother him that's the case, because that's just the normal. You know, that food insecurity is a normality for some people, and I think, to me, that's unacceptable in my community, that I want everybody to be thriving in. That's just my opinion.
I fully agree.
So having something like this, like you said, is not going to solve the systemic issue. However, this is going to help show people that we're here, like we're all in it together. We're all gonna help, and go home and like thrive for today, because today and maybe tomorrow you're going to be taken care of, and we're going to do the best we can no matter what. And so you're doing this in Wenatchee next week, but in my understanding is that you have several of these going around within the area. Is that right?
Yes. So we went our last one before Wenatchee. We went ahead and did one in Brewster, Washington. So we are trying to target. So we went ahead and initially had reached out to Second Harvest to see, because they have all this data saying which communities are the most impacted, where we could go ahead and we can bring them in to go ahead and be a big support. And so they went ahead and gave us a list of cities. So the work that we are doing is that we are trying to identify locations where we can host these events, but also a lot of those smaller communities, maybe Wenatchee isn't one of them, but there's a big need here. And so like for Brewster, which is our last one, I was hoping for 100 people to go ahead and show up, just to make it a beneficial use of everybody's time. 340 people showed up at the end of the day, which was, at the end of the day, it made me feel great because everybody came together for this. But on the sadder note is that is 340 folks that would not have been able to have been served, that are being impacted because of food insecurities. And so, like you went ahead and mentioned, when we can all come together, see, this is not Molina's everyday work, but if we can contribute to this work with maybe our community action councils or other partners that intersect with this kind of work or around health, then let's just go ahead and do that. So one of the things that we did at the first event, we'll be doing at this event, is obviously, like I mentioned, all our some of these partners will also have booths and tables. So while it will not be required that folks park after they go through the drive-through, we want to make it an option. So maybe when they do have, if they are experiencing maybe some civic issues, legal issues, then we'll also have our partners there from the volunteer attorney services to help them with any questions that they may have, or any other partners that will be present offering those services and beneficial information on the day.
I mean, it's not that they don't have access to these services on a normal basis. It just, having them all in one place just takes away a hurdle. You know, it takes away a challenge. It might you know, for somebody that might need that access to that information. because they could go and access that information. It's readily available, but having it all aggregated in one place is, sometimes all somebody needs. You're there for one thing, you get information on something else, and it could change your life, turn it around.
Exactly. It'll save you a
Right.
whole day of traveling around between different agencies with just one event. So that's what at the end, this is how we hope to go ahead and be able to bring our partners together. So
Great. Yeah. So it starts at 11 a.m. on next Friday at the Town Toyota Center. And so you're partnering up also with Second Harvest. So you don't need to register, you don't need to bring any documentation, but the supply is limited. So I would come early if that is something that they're thinking about, right?
yes, correct. So the one great thing about these partnerships, for example, another partner that's I didn't note on here is the PUD. So they are actually allowing us to use their Walla Walla Point Park just across from Town Toyota. So for any folks that do happen to arrive early, we'll be able to go ahead and divert traffic there and wait until the Second Harvest arrives so we can unload and prep everything. But like you went ahead and mentioned, so as soon as people start arriving, they will try to go ahead and get everything squared away so it could be a seamless process. We will not be asking for any identification, any personal information. The only barrier that we foresee is getting down to Town Toyota.
Right.
So while this is a drive-through event, if anybody doesn't have access to a vehicle, they need to go ahead and walk there. That's fine. We'll have a way to go ahead and integrate them into the process, so they also walk away with some beneficial items.
Okay. All right. And then you take over with Molina at 1:00. Is that right?
Yes, Molina and the Community Action Council, we're partnering. So beyond the Second Harvest mobile market, we'll also be purchasing additional foods and items to be giving away after the Second Harvest mobile unit is depleted. Then we'll have something else. Like you mentioned, it will be limited, but we are trying our best to go ahead and buy beneficial foods that are fresh to go ahead and give out on the day of the event, trying to reach as many people as possible. So.
Okay. Well, we did a lot of planting in our garden this year, so if I have any extra, we might be doing our own little food pantry here in my front yard here pretty soon, which I'd be totally happy to do. If I have extra stuff, I will give it away. That's for sure. But we'll be out there. We'll be doing our setup, doing some live interviews, talking with some of your partners out there and about the good work that they do and the services and resources that they offer. And so I'm looking forward to meeting and talking to some of the people in the community that I haven't had a chance to, and getting that information out there. And I just think that what you do, Donny, is just so admirable. So I love that you give me the time of day.
So at the end, like you mentioned, it's our community partners out there that specialize in this work. They are our hidden little gems, and just because maybe they are a not for profit organization, they don't have the funds to be out there saying this is what we do in a bigger capacity. Well, this is what we can do for them. Advertise them, and then we are so happy that you'll be on site to help interview, help expand the word of what the work that they do and their resources, because they have a great capacity, and they need that opportunity to be shared.
So if there are people out there that want to come down next Friday, this is something that they think they might need, or they know somebody that might need this, where can they get all of the information? I know that we're going to post it. We'll have it up on our channels. But where else are you going to have the information posted?
So this information is we've shared this information out with Cafe, with the Chelan Douglas Community Health or the Health District, the Community Action Council for Chelan and Douglas, Alano Club, the Chelan Douglas County Volunteer Attorney Services, Thriving Together. And then I actually have a big stack of flyers that I am handing out between today and early next week. So it'll also be online on the Molina Facebook. So if you have Facebook, I don't know, you can stop by the Molina Facebook at Molina Health WA. It'll be on there. But this is open to anybody in need of any age. We're not going to be asking for any information. So
Okay. And I've got it kind of scrolling on the bottom there, so I'll leave that up for a little while here for the rest of today's show, and then we'll post it up over on our Facebook and Instagram. Make sure the people who want to know about it do and can get out there if they need to. Donny Guerrero from Molina Healthcare, thank you so much for letting us know what is going on with the Molina Markets for next Friday. And we will have you back again at some point. I guarantee it.
yes, I'll be looking for you at Wenatchee Pride tomorrow.
Oh,
excited.
Yeah! Happy Pride! And we're
Yes.
doing an after party. You got to come sing karaoke.
Yes. I don't know about the singing part, but I'll be there.
Oh, tell me, when's your birthday?
It's in September. So it's still a little ways
Oh.
away, but it gives me more than ample time to go ahead and start planning and looking for my my future family member.
Yeah. My birthday's in September too, so we'll do a dual birthday celebration.
Oh, there we go. I love that.
All right, Donny, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, and we'll definitely see you next Friday at the Molina Markets, okay?
Have a safe weekend. Have fun out there.
All right, be well. Happy Pride.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, there you go. I just love him so much. That was Donny Guerrero. He's a community engagement over at Molina Healthcare. And I just, I feel so grateful that he thinks of us to get the word out about what they're doing over at Molina Healthcare and the good work, and that we get the chance to be out there and broadcast from the market, the Molina Market, and talk to some of their partners and see what good work they're doing out there.
Yeah,
like
it was really good. It was nice tuning into that. I know we're working on the whole extra headset situation, which I feel that we've remedied here. But yeah, I apologize. That was a little loud for you even, and I was like, I'm just trying to tune into the show.
Oh,
so
it's okay. We're getting better all the time. But I can't be distracted. I need to be focused.
It's all right. You're good.
I just want to be I am distracted. I keep looking at this pool. I want to go jump in.
You should do it while you're on the show.
Right.
But without your headphones. What else do we have going on for our show today?
Don't you know?
No, Grayson was late today, so Grayson is out of the loop.
Has no idea what's going on the show today.
Yeah, that's totally my bad, you guys.
Okay. It's all right. We could talk about. Do you have anything that's been on your mind that you wanted to talk about? I kind of left an open segment of here is what Grayson wanted to talk about segment.
I don't really have much to share. I told you.
You have to get closer to the microphone. Do you realize that?
I told you one thing that I was super interested in knowing. Why is the city now walking around and marking all of the sidewalks with numbers? I know that's more of a question for my city council members and whatnot, but no, I don't really have much to discuss. I'm excited for this season of Slide Waters. I got my season pass.
So that is something that both of us have done separately, slide waters, but we went with the in-laws.
But we should all go. We should just plan that. It would be fun.
Yeah, we took the kiddo.
I'm sure he loved it. Those basic sides are fun.
So obviously we opened the pool. Can we get the camera back on the pool?
Yeah, I'm gonna step off camera, everyone.
Yeah, so Memorial Day weekend. So this is, I could tell the story of Memorial Day weekend is I took off. I know I own my own company, but I have to take off from myself, right? Like I have to request days off to myself. So I requested days off to myself from the Memorial Day weekend. We didn't do a show on last Friday. I took Friday and I actually did work on Friday morning, but then the half day of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And because we were deciding that we were going to go camping. We were planning to go camping with some friends. There's the pool. Everybody can see the pool and go, ooh, ah. And then last minute, we just kind of decided that we didn't want to do all the packing up and we didn't want to spend the money. So we wanted to stay home and work on the house and work on the yard and swim in the pool because we hadn't really had a chance to do that.
Right.
And it really hit me Friday evening around dinner time where I went, oh my goodness. I don't have to do anything or go anywhere for 3 whole days.
Oh, I'm sure that must have been really nice.
It was amazing. It was like a staycation.
Right. I hear that. I as well have been working really hard in my yard. So I've been really just enjoying hanging out in my backyard as much as possible.
Yeah, we did. We worked. I have never pulled so many weeds in my entire life.
Well, because
I've never had a yard.
People should know this is your first year in your house.
Yes. So it's really bad because when we moved in last year, the whole yard looked like a hayfield. It was all dead, brown, overgrown. What Ryan has done to this yard in the past year has been
very
nothing short of remarkable, with not just the grass but the pruning and building garden beds and by hand with the wheelbarrow full of soil, of dirt all around to build these garden beds. I'm like, oh my gosh, so much work.
And the chicken coops. And the chicken pen.
Yeah, and the chicken coop. So we thoroughly enjoyed it. And on top of that, it was the first weekend. It was really warm enough to go swimming. So guess what? We got to start teaching Trenton how to swim.
How's that going?
Oh my gosh, he loves it. He is a water baby. We have the little water wings, like the life jacket. And sometimes he likes to go in and like have us hold him, or we put him in he calls it a boat. It's just one of the floaties. Or he goes in with the life jacket and he actually is kicking and moving and actually learning how to swim. And he's very good. And I'm going to start crying. Like, did you like starting to cry because I am so proud.
Did you how to swim when you were a kid?
Yes.
Okay.
We were competitively swimming by the time we were 6.
Okay.
5, 6 years old, because we grew up on a lake, in a lake community, and the lake had competitive swimming. So yeah, by the time we were 5 or 6, we were swimming competitively.
Yeah, this is a conversation I just had with Doug actually very recently, and he's telling me about how his kids are really good swimmers, and he made sure that they got lessons. And him and I have that experience of, yeah, our parents didn't really do that for us. We had to learn on our own. I mean, with me, it was supervised. We had a pool where we lived, and my mom just let me jump in. People would freak out because we didn't know how to swim. My sister and I would just jump in, and first we learned how to swim under the water. and then we learned how
Nobody
to swim
taught
above
you
the
how to
water.
swim?
No.
That's terrifying.
No, yeah, my mom was just like, they'll figure it out.
Oh my gosh.
My little sister's terrified of water because she never learned how to swim. So her kids know how to swim. So I think it's really incredible. I mean, having access to a pool and having one at your own property and being able to teach your kid is that's really commendable. I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's what I would want.
Right. Well, the thing about having a pool at my house is terrifying. I'm
Of him
terrified.
falling in?
Yeah, I'm terrified.
I guess
So
it's time
that's
to
why-
put a railing around it.
Well, if it was up to me, we would have had a fence around it like ASAP. Some things you just can't do right away. So yes, it terrifies me, and I watch him like a hawk. But he actually is very good around the pool, and he listens very well. And now he's learning how to swim, and he actually does very well. I would have taught him earlier, but it was winter.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you can't really throw him in the pool in the middle of winter.
Right. It's just the fact that he knows that to be in the water, he has to be in that, right? Like
Yes.
he knows like he can't get
Yes.
in the water any other way. I think that's what is the difference right there in the parenting style, is that he realizes that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of parents don't teach their kids that difference. And I think it's really important. People think you have to put this fence around your pool because you have a toddler and and there's all these accidental deaths, these chances of things that can happen. But I think it always comes down to your parenting plan and how you have a conversation with your kid. How you're like with Trenton, I know you do a lot of sign language. It's all about that conversation, the repetitive conversation, and they absorb it and they figure it out. I mean, kids are little humans; they can figure things out.
And he's figuring out more and more and more every day, but that is why our child has two parents. Because, like I said, if it were up to me, the day Ryan took the cover off of the pool, I would have had a fence around the pool. If we could have afforded it, and I had $1 million, or I had enough money, I would have had a fence around that pool, and if I had the means and a husband who would let me, I would probably be a really, really over protective parent. But Ryan does not let me. He's just much different in that aspect. He's like, no, we teach him how to be safe, how to act dangerous safely, in that, if that makes sense. Yes, you can jump off the rock, but are you going to land safely? Right? Yes, you can play by the pool, but don't run by the pool because you might trip. Right. It's
about choices and what good choices are.
Teaching him what danger means.
Right.
And what safety means. And to me, it was just protect him.
Well, that's a
different parenting style. There's a difference between just protecting and not teaching what safety and danger means. So I actually appreciate that he does that, and doesn't underestimate our child in that way.
No, that's If I would have known, you did tell me about the pool, so I can't say that. But I would have been over. I would have came over yesterday and jumped in the pool, even though it was windy and not as warm.
I invited you over every day this weekend.
You did. I've been planning on fishing, so I went fishing yesterday.
How'd that go?
I caught fish.
Yay!
My dogs had rainbow trout for dinner last night. So.
I'm very proud of you. Good for you.
It's just something that that I really enjoy doing. It helps me clear my head and kind of get a new fundamental respect. I'm also learning. I have crips, and a lot of people don't know that. I'm also learning that with
people
crips,
don't even know what that is.
Chronic regional pain syndrome. I have it in both hands. It's becoming more difficult to do some of the things that were once easy. So I think having, because I have a fishing license and whatnot, I think what I'm learning is I'm really glad that my stepdad taught me that fishing is all about patience, extreme patience.
Yeah, like
in
golf.
everything you do. I use a spinning reel, so if you do it wrong and you get a knot and your line goes everywhere, the patience to sit down and untangle it and get it rewound, the patience to be able to pull the hook out of the fish's mouth, the patience for all these different things that you're doing, tying your rig. So yesterday was a very fundamental lesson in patience. And having to teach myself how to recast, because my technique and how I could do it before, I don't have dexterity on my fingertips anymore. So it took, I'm not going to kid around, it took probably about an hour before I was finally able and ready and to bait. But then the first time I threw it in, within 5 minutes, I caught a fish, a more than legal size rainbow trout. So, I mean, I was like, okay, I didn't catch anything after that. That's all right too. I was out there until, I got out there after we had met to set up for the Columbia Valley Brewery, and I got back, by before 8:30. So I was out there for a few hours, and it was good, like it was something I really, really needed to do. So
nice. I love that.
And I'm normally a cast, catch, and release, but my dogs were with me, and so I kind of felt like, hey, you guys were doing so good today, like you deserve a reward. I'm gonna fry it. I'm gonna pan fry this trout for you.
I want to go fishing now.
It's
yeah.
It's fun. It's relaxing, but it really is patience.
We have a little kid reel for Trenton, so we're gonna get out there and take him fishing.
It's good. It's a good time for him to learn how to start casting. Because that's the trick of it. I think when I started, I was probably 8 or 9, and I couldn't catch fish worth a damn. Pardon my language, I shouldn't have said that, but I couldn't. My sister could catch fish. She was natural. We'd be up in Chelan, and I would catch the fish that sting your hands, the bottom feeders that you use as bait, and I could never kill them. My sister would always kill them and then like rip them apart and use their body parts to catch fish.
No.
And she was like, "You're my bait. You're my baiter. Like you catch the bait fish." But I was learning,
Yeah.
It sucks when your younger sisters are better at something than you are, just naturally gifted. But I think when you're young, like my other sister was much younger, you learn to cast a lot better. You end up with the stronger. It's like golf. You learn it and you absorb it as a child, and when you get older, it's just muscle memory. Everything's muscle memory.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think fishing would be a great
that has
thing.
to do with a lot of different things.
The younger we are, the more our brains are like a sponge. The older we are, well, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can. It just takes so much more time. It's possible. Everything is possible.
I know.
Isn't that right, Chewy?
Yeah.
Can't see Chewy behind you just because your camera is all kind of blurred.
No, I unblurred it. I did. I unblurred it.
Oh, yeah. A little bit. You can see it.
Yeah. So tomorrow is going to be a nice day also, weather-wise, which will be good. We've got a long day. We're going to be out at Memorial Park for Wenatchee Pride. I like Pride Month. I like that people celebrate it all month long. They do Wenatchee Pride here earlier in the month because the big cities like Seattle do it later in the month.
Yeah, the bigger cities typically do it later in the month because actual Pride falls the last weekend of the month. So the reason that we celebrate Pride, the reason that we do all that is because of the Stonewall riots,
right? That
happened in New York City back in the 70s, and it was a 3-day all in. This is young people on landlines calling their friends, and masses of people showing up because back then, and that was LGBT. and we didn't have an acronym, you couldn't gather. You could not gather in a public setting with a visible window. In fact, you couldn't gather even if you didn't have a visible window. That was a jailable offense. Your name would be in the paper. Your photo would be in the paper. You'd lose your job. You'd lose your friends. You know, and in a lot of cases, it destroyed a lot of people's lives. It didn't matter if you were a man or a woman.
Just destroyed your credibility.
Just destroyed, your credibility completely. So that was the day that it was a bar that was in Greenwich Village. And it's
my favorite part of New York City, by the way.
And so that place was the reason they call it Stonewall, is the Stonewall Inn. And it was a day that there were drag queens and lesbians inside this bar. And there was going to be a show. And it was this like positive, happy day. And that was Friday. And that was Friday, June 28th. I believe it was 76, but I could be wrong. I'm usually wrong on the year, but the dates I'm not. So my birthday's June 30th, and the last day of the riots was June 30th. So
my sobriety date is June 28th.
Nice. So it falls within Pride, right? So that particular day, somehow the police got wind that they had gathered. It was not a bar that had a window that had access. It wasn't even a front entrance access to this bar. And they raided it. And these lesbians and these drag queens took a stand against the police. There weren't that many of them. There was a couple of them that made phone calls, and it became a phone call networking branch where someone called 5 people who called 5 people, and so on and so forth. And they stayed the course. And there was a knockout, drag out, very, very violent. They didn't just come in because they came in on a Saturday using the force of water from a fire hydrant. They came in with their batons in a full knockout, drag out fight.
Riot.
And people died over the course of this weekend. But more people came, and lots of people got arrested. But at the same time, it was when the community finally got together and took a stand. Because back then, men had their own separate bars and women didn't go in them. Women had their own separate bars, men didn't go in them. Trans people had their own separate thing, and they tried to always pass off to be in between, but they had their own separate thing. So we didn't actually do how we do bars today. Right. We still have a lesbian bar. We still have a gay bar.
Very private.
It was very
underground.
Invitation only is what people need to understand. So I went to college, and I know all of this because I took LGBT, and that was what it was called back when I went to college. It's my minor
in studies,
and so I took those studies for several years, and so I myself had no idea why we celebrated Pride until I was 30 years old. I had no idea. I thought it was a time when gay people got together and wore all the rainbows and drank until we couldn't function. I was one of those young people in the early 2000s. And so I think it's really important that we educate people. So I'm glad that you brought it up, of what Pride actually is, why we actually get together. Now, this isn't why we have the rainbow flag. That's a separate topic altogether.
I bring it up all the time. I honestly do bring it up all the time because it surprises me still how many people don't know why we celebrate Pride. And it's people within our community just as much as it's everybody else. And I mean, it was even just my own husband. Like a month ago, I was like talking about this, and I said, well, the first Pride was a riot. And he went, what? And so it just opens up the opportunity to talk about it. Because there's everybody in the world, no exception, has their own perception of the world.
Right. Correct.
And so you never know what other people's perceptions are. So just keep that in mind. And people's perceptions might come from their own experience, and you don't know what their experience is going to be or what it was. So there might be people who might be on the other side of that, might have saw you as this young 20-something that's going to Pride and dressing scantily clad and getting drunk till you can't function, and says, well, that's what Pride is. Pride is just all these gay and trans and lesbians just getting all sexy and dressing scantily clad and getting drunk and partying until they can't function. Well, that's not why we celebrate Pride.
No,
for sure, that's how some people celebrate Pride, but that's not why we celebrate it.
We don't teach it in school. It's not a part of the core curriculum, and you can't even learn about it until you get to college. You cannot take LGBT studies in the state of Washington. I was in California and San Francisco. And San Francisco, San Diego, they all offer it. And in fact, you can take queer theory. And that can be a minor or a major, but you don't know or learn any of that until you get to the college level. It's really unfortunate because
so let's stop talking about it. Like, let's not teach people about it, and then let them grow up to not know anything about the history of it, and then just have them all make assumptions, and then in the end and then wonder why. I wonder why they are bigoted and misinformed and have these very strange and narrow views of the LGBTQIA community.
Right, and I feel like we were moving forward, really strongly until COVID happened, and now I feel like we're moving really backwards. There's a lot of laws that are very backwards about it. Gathering together in the state of Arkansas, am I right on that? Like, if drag queens gather together, it's a jailable offense. Here's a story for that is part of Pride. Another reason we have Pride. There was an event that took place in San Francisco, in the Tenderloin of San Francisco in the 70s, and it's called The Screaming Queens. There is a documentary you can go and watch, just like Stonewall, but this is a bigger documentary. This is where transvestite, trans people, and drag queens gathered at a diner in the Tenderloin after they had their shows. It was something they did all the time. It had big giant glass windows at this diner, and it got raided by the police, and it was a knockout, drag out, like full-on fisticuffs, batons that happened inside of this diner. I mean, we're talking coffee cups full of coffee being thrown at both sides, of food being thrown. You talk about a food fight. This was one of those types of events. And this is when people in San Francisco started taking a stand about gathering openly and being able to gather openly in a public place that is not a bar. And so this is fundamentally and crucially important, because when this happened, people in New York City got wind of it. We already had Stonewall. This came just after Stonewall. This is when the parade was formed. This is what people have to understand. So the parade and all these things are all very separate, but they're very intricate because they happen within the span of years. And we had a parade officially, I believe, in 77, before I was born. And the colors of the flag represented the colors of where we come from. And it was very inclusive. They wanted to include all of the people that were considered outcasts, that make up this community that formed LGBT. And those 4 letters of acronyms, gay, lesbian, transgender, and bisexual, those are, and I'm sorry, bisexual people, I do not mean to exclude you, but all those that was the original acronym. We didn't have what we have today as far as the umbrella has expanded since. But had it not been for those people that put that parade together, and carried that long, it was long. I mean, I'm sure you've seen pictures. You can go and Google this long parade banner, and all these people marched. It was actually not a parade, it was a protest.
Right.
And it turned into what we now know as a Pride Parade. Now, Pride, as I know it from history to what it is today it's commercialized. It's a lot of businesses jumping in. You don't know if they're bandwagoning or if they're fully supportive of the LGBTQIA.
Most of them don't call them parades; they call them marches. They call them pride marches.
Yes, it depends on where you're at.
Reason, because they don't. A parade is more of a celebration, and a march is because it is that you're still remembering that as a protest of something.
Yes, and we do have those, and they are separate. I mean, I know that in Seattle, you have Dykes on Bikes that lead into the transgender march that we've been doing since I can even remember.
And in New York City, the day before, they do the Dyke March, and that is the Saturn day before the Sunday parade.
Yes, and it's the same in Seattle. It's also the same in San Francisco and in San Diego, because I've participated in those. The only time, and I've been in the parade on my birthday in San Francisco when I turned 30, which is an honor, is a total honor. But it gave me an idea about what it's like from that side and looking out, and how important it is. I mean, I cried along the entire parade route, because it gave me having an understanding of why we do it and why this is important, and participating in all these different events that I've been participating in for decades. It gave me a greater idea of why. But how we started this conversation is, why are we having Pride then in Wenatchee on the 2nd? And the reason is because we still need to celebrate it here in town and have a sense of community here in town, because people like to go to the bigger cities to celebrate Pride on Pride when that comes into play. And so that's why we have it earlier. It's so that we as a community here in Wenatchee have a place to gather and celebrate Pride and what it means to us. And it's a focal point of importance that the community outside of that needs to know. It's what our allies want to know about. They want to know what Pride is all about and why we do it. And our allies mean everything to us, because without our allies, we can't move forward politically and try and change laws. So Pride is the whole month is celebratory, to point out and focus on all these different reasons of why we have it. And there's so many fundamental reasons of things that went wrong. And I'm happy. Had it not been for Melissa Etheridge in 1996 coming out at Bill Clinton's inaugural, deal, I would have not had the exposure of understanding someone in my community.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I knew about George Michael, and sure, I knew about Elton John. But until you have it in your own country, a person that you had no idea was, but everyone that's been to a show locally knew, it opens your eyes, it opens your heart when you're actually a part of the community. And I've got to be able to share my story, and I've gotten to watch how things have evolved since 1996. And
even how things have evolved even in our own community. Like, I have lived here almost a decade, and when I moved here, there was no Wenatchee Pride. I had started Ellensburg Pride, or we called it the Pride of Ellensburg. It was Poe.
Yeah, Poe is a lot of fun.
Yeah, Poe was great. And so when I moved here, there was no Wenatchee Pride. I actually got people asking me, why don't you start Wenatchee Pride or Pride of Wenatchee? And I actually didn't want any part of it, because of what a hard time I had in Ellensburg starting Pride of Wenatchee, and I didn't want to get into the politics of it anymore. I just needed to take a step back at that point in my life, because I had started at the age of 17 in the suburbs of Manhattan, and the first gay activist alliance group that I was active in, just by accident, that I got involved with, had their two original founding members that were still involved with the group were present at Stonewall. And so these were my gay activist mentors when I first started.
How awesome is that?
I was 19. I was 18 the first time I marched in the Pride Parade. That was the first time I ever went to the Pride Parade in New York City. First Pride Parade I ever went to was New York City, and I was marching in it. That's how I was like, oh, I'm just going to come out, New York City, let me march in it. Right? Like that was how I got my start. So here I was, whatever, a decade and a half later almost. And Pride of Wenatchee Pride didn't even exist. So seeing the evolution over the past almost decade here has been amazing.
Right?
To say the least, honestly, to see where we've come to now. In my involvement, since they have decided, and they originally had a really great, strong core group that started Wenatchee Pride that gave it a great,
I remember that.
Great footing, some great sponsorship, wonderful.
I remember that gathering
foundation.
at Pybus Market. That was when I first moved here. I think it was like the second annual.
Actually,
Pride.
One of the very first planning meetings to bring things around full circle.
Do it.
One of the very first planning meetings for Wenatchee Pride, when they were trying to get volunteers, was held at, wait for it, Columbia Valley Brewing.
What?
Yeah. So, I mean, the board has gone through some reinventions since then. And the part, that now they're doing the festival at, they started at, the very, very first one was not even like a first one. It was in the church here in East Wenatchee, one of the churches, and it was just a gathering. And then they went to Pybus Event Center.
Yep.
Moved over to Lincoln Park.
Yep.
And I emceed both of those years at Pybus Event Center and at Lincoln Park. And then they took some time off, and then they started up at Memorial Park. Now they're at Memorial Park for a second year. And
it's definitely come and evolved. I remember meeting one of the first presidents who actually came out to me, and she was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her reaching out, and because she's like, "You're new here," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just, what is Pride here? What's going on here? I'm new here, so I just moved here, and I've been here all my life, and there's never been a Pride. And whoop, I buy a house, and here I am, and there's Pride." And she's like, she always encouraged me to get involved. I never forget her giving me her phone number and email address, like, you need to get involved. And even now I'm hearing, like, you need to get involved with it. People have to understand it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Gosh,
I've participated on a council for Pride in college, and in both San Francisco and in Tacoma, Washington. And I can say it is a lot of work. It is definitely another job that you take on. And I just don't know if I'm ready for something like that, but I like to actively encourage people in the community to want to be involved.
Well, I know that they're always looking for good help, and
oh yeah,
a good person to talk to about the history of the gay community in this region would be, and even in the past decade or couple of decades, would be Matthew Pippin. He's the MC for tomorrow's event, but him and I have talked about this, and he's pretty open about how even a decade ago it wasn't as safe to be out in this community. And I believe that to be true, because when I first moved here, there was a lot less people who felt comfortable with being out. A lot more people were in. A lot more couples were in. And nowadays it's everybody is out there, and a lot more people are out there. And if you are not, then that's fine. That's your
totally
deal.
Fine.
But,
it's totally
but
fine.
I think people feel much more comfortable with coming out in our community. We have made a much more safe community for people to feel like themselves, and that in a short amount of time, and that is progress. And I really feel proud of our community for doing that in such a short amount of time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I moved here, I was completely closeted, but not because I'm a closeted person. I've never been a closeted person. I've always been actively participating in this entire thing, especially Pride Month. I've never not had an active role in it since I was 18. So coming here and being closeted was really hard. It was really scary, and I just saw things happening around me that really made me start to question a few things. And I had to say to myself, so you're a really outspoken part of your segment of the community. Why is your voice not being heard? And this year I spoke at National Transgender Day of Visibility. That was
beautiful.
Was really important for me to do, because I have been told, like, well, you know how old you are. You're now an elder. You're like you're not like just regular. And not only is that an honor, and it wasn't like a negative thing to me. It made me realize that you have to have leadership, and to have leadership is to share where you come from, so that younger people have a greater idea about how much better things have gotten since you were where you were at. And then you have to continue with that by making sure that your face is out there, and that you're taking a stand, and that you're standing up for those things, and you're standing up for those people. So like, I'm on a committee for Confluence Health to improve that medical company's way of how they treat people within the LGBT community itself, from minors to seniors, which is really imperative for the Valley, because what they've done is they have discovered that the community has grown substantially in the last decade, and they don't have enough adequate medical care for that. And so they also don't have, haven't been able to train the staff and keep the staff up to date on stuff. So they're kind of under like this, it's not a moratorium, but this thing with the state where they had to like get up to that level like the rest of the hospitals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I am trying to take a more active role.
Well, I think we should, and
I think it's important for all
that
of
we're
us.
passionate about. We should take action on. We can't take action on everything, but if it's something that we have experience in and that we're passionate about, I think that we definitely should. But we are over time here. It's a few minutes past 2:00. So, but it's only the beginning of Pride Month, so we have the entire month to continue talking about all of these and our own experiences. I want to kind of talk a bit more about your experience working and doing advocacy work, and I haven't really shared a whole lot about my own experience, and because I've just been really private about it, and most people haven't asked me. That's the other thing, like most people don't care. And you want to know why most people don't care, and this is the sad part about it. One, I'm not transgender. I don't have body dysmorphia. I am not in a gay relationship. I'm not like outwardly LGBTQ.
Well, that's visible, right? That's visible.
That is visible. So, but some people look at me and they go, "Oh, she's a complete dyke." You've said it 3 times in the show already. I feel fine with saying it, and that's because of the way I look or the way I keep my hair or whatever it is. They don't, and then when they find out that I'm married and I have a kid, they go, "Oh, well,
It's just misidentification of who you are. I'm just fortunate enough to know you outside of this to know different. And once you know, then you know.
Yeah, once you know, then you know. But people who don't care to know, they don't ask. So I do consider myself as part of the community. I started advocacy work at 17, 18 years old, and been pretty consistent in ever since then.
I would say that you're part of the community,
despite who I have been with as a partner.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I strongly, after hearing lots of your different parts of your story over the years, I'm like, okay, you're in the umbrella, so we don't have a word for it, you're in the umbrella. I sometimes I'm like, well, I would say non-binary, but you can't label somebody else. They get to label themselves.
Well,
But
true.
I do see it in you. I do. I mean, but that's only
I feel
we
it in
talk
me.
about
Obviously, I've always felt it in me. You know, and there are things, and we'll talk. Let's keep exploring this all month long as we continue on the podcast.
We will. We've got amazing guests all month that are going to share their stories and share what they're doing as far as helping build community and doing outreach.
Because I think even for
important.
myself, like for my story, there are things that terminologies that exist now within the LGBT community that didn't exist when we were growing up.
Exactly.
That I can identify with. So like as a teenager, I wouldn't know what to call myself or how do I identify or how to label myself. But now that I'm adult, they have a label for it because they've been labeling and trying to find identities for things. So now I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now that you have a term for it, I feel like that is my true, I feel like that's me. But there's other things that don't quite line up. Maybe 10 years from now, they'll have a term for it. But who knows? The sexuality and romanticism and our gender, it's always, I mean, it's just kind of those things and those ideologies are kind of evolving still.
Yeah. I mean, when they tell you in college that we're human beings and we're very intricate, we are very intricate.
The one thing we do know for sure, Wenatchee Pride Festival is tomorrow.
Yes, come one, come all. Karaoke.
Starts at 11. The festival down at Memorial Park. It has entertainment and speakers and performers and drag throughout the entire day until 9 p.m. Then make your way to Columbia Valley Brewing. Whoop, whoop. We are doing the very unofficial, very official Karaoke Pride after party starting at 9 o'clock, going until you guys want it to end. So as long as you're singing, as long as you're keeping the taps flowing, as long as you're eating, as long as you're having fun, we will stay open. So that is tomorrow. It's going to be a long day, lots of fun. Stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, take breaks. And if you need more information, always go over to Facebook or Instagram. We got to get out of here. I want to thank all of our guests today. Lorien Clemens from PetHub. She was awesomely fantastic. I just love her so much. Also, Donny Guerrero from Molina Healthcare. So we're going to be broadcasting from the Town Toyota Center next Friday from that Molina Markets. So you can see that if you need information, if you are experiencing food insecurity at any level, they are here to help. They're partnering with a lot of different people, but on the food side, Second Harvest will be there. So you can get information. We'll put that up on our channels as well as Molina. And I want to thank myself for hosting our podcast today.
Thank you for hosting our podcast today. Also, don't forget, we have stickers. These are bigger stickers than the ones that we have passed out before. It's $3 for one. It's 2 for $5. Get them while they last. These are really, really cool. You know you want one.
We will have them up for sale tomorrow at Wenatchee Pride. We'll
yes, come check out the booth.
And maybe partying at the booth. Just before we go, I want to show everybody this weekly cute picture of my son Trenton riding our pit bull Lilu, who's looking at me going, please save me.
Right.
And me going, not doing it. That's our picture of the week. Woo! Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next week over at Molina Markets. Grayson, we'll see you tomorrow for Wenatchee Pride. Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride, everybody.
Peace out.